You ever know what it feels like when your wife's parents treat you like you'll never be good enough? Like, no matter what you do, it's just not enough. And the worst part? You're doing everything for them. For her. You work late, you save, you keep your head down, you show up to their family dinners with a smile, even when they make those little passive-aggressive comments. Oh, you're still driving that? Or, our daughter had so much potential. Glad she found someone stable, at least. They say it with a smile. But it cuts, and I took it. I took all of it. For years. Because I loved her. Because I wanted to believe they'd come around. Truth is, they never really did. Not once. From the first day I met them, they sized me up like I was some kind of joke. I remember shaking her dad's hand. Firm grip, fake smile. He looked at me like he already decided I was beneath him. Her mom? Oh, she didn't even try to hide it. That tight little smile, the way she'd glance at my shoes, my watch, like she was calculating whether I was worth her daughter's time. You know that feeling? Like someone staring through you, not really seeing you, just judging what you represent? Yeah, that was every single visit. And the wild thing is, I never gave them a reason. I've never been in trouble. I've worked since I was 16, put myself through trade school, became a certified electrician, started picking up contracts, grew a decent little business. It wasn't flashy, but it was honest, steady. I never came asking for anything. I paid for our wedding. I paid for the honeymoon. I paid for the repairs when their roof leaked. Never asked them to say thank you. I just kept showing up, hoping maybe one day they'd look at me and see what she saw. But nah, to them, I was always the kid who wasn't going anywhere big. You know the type. People who measure success by cars or titles or how many vacation photos you post. They didn't get me. And that was fine, until it started getting to her. At first, she brushed it off, said things like, "Oh, that's just my mom," or, "You know how my dad is." But over time, I saw it. The way she'd flinch when they made comments. The way she'd squeeze my hand under the table. It wasn't just me anymore. They were hurting her too. And she was stuck in the middle. I'll never forget one Christmas. We brought them this nice gift basket. Artisan wine, local cheeses, stuff I thought they'd love. Her dad looks at it, raises an eyebrow, and says, "Huh, Costco must be stepping up their game." I laughed. Tried to play it off. But my wife, she didn't laugh. She just looked down. Quiet. On the drive home, she didn't say much, just stared out the window. And I remember thinking, yeah, this is getting old, real old. But here's where it starts to shift. A few months later, I landed a pretty big contract. Wiring for a new commercial building downtown. It was legit, good pay, steady hours. And honestly, it came at the right time. My wife had just told me her parents were thinking of downsizing. Their mortgage was too high. Retirement wasn't looking great. They were stressed. And well, I had a choice. I could let them sink, or I could do something they'd never expect. Something quiet, unspoken. So I called a friend of mine, a real estate agent, and asked if they'd list the house privately. I told him I wanted to buy it. Quietly. No fuss, no announcements, just make it happen behind the scenes. He looked at me like I was crazy. Said, "Dude, they don't even like you." I shrugged. "Yeah, but they love that house." And part of me, I guess I just wanted to give them one less thing to stress about. Even if they never knew it came from me. Even if they never said thank you. Because sometimes you just do the right thing. Not for applause, not for credit, just because. But life has a funny way of bringing things full circle. And the way they found out? Oh man, that part? That wasn't planned. That was all accident. Or maybe fate. I don't know. But it changed everything. So yeah, I bought the house. Quietly. Transferred through a trust. I made sure the mortgage disappeared. Just like that. My name never showed up on any of their paperwork. I didn't want it to. I didn't need them to know. I wasn't doing it to prove anything. I was doing it because, well, they're still her parents. And deep down, I guess I hoped they'd soften up. Maybe not toward me, but at least toward her. Toward us. Thing is, they didn't. If anything, they got worse. A few months later, we were at her dad's birthday dinner, big gathering, catered food, candles lit everywhere like they were celebrating royalty. He raises a glass and says something like, "I just want to thank my daughter for being the smartest one in the family, marrying a man who knows how to stay in his lane." Everyone laughed, except her, and me, I just nodded, stared at my fork, and reminded myself I could leave any time. But I didn't. I stayed for her. After dinner, her mom pulls me aside, says something like, "You know, if you ever need career advice, my cousin's son is in finance." I smiled, said thanks. But inside, I was boiling. Not because she thought I needed help, but because she still didn't see it, still didn't get it, still thought I was the same kid in a beat-up truck, the one they met 10 years ago. Truth is, they hadn't even noticed I was driving something new, paid off. They hadn't noticed we'd stopped renting and bought a place of our own. They just didn't care to look. And maybe that's what finally did it for me. That night, my wife and I got home. She took off her heels, sat on the couch, and sighed. Didn't say a word. And I could tell she was holding something in, so I asked, "You okay?" She nodded, then shook her head. And she said something I'll never forget. "I'm tired of defending you to people who will never see you." And that hit different, because I knew she meant it. She loved me, but she was tired. Tired of the side comments. The way they talked to her about me when I wasn't around. Tired of being stuck in the middle. And I didn't blame her. I really didn't. So I told her the truth. About the house. About how I'd bought it months ago. About how her parents didn't owe a dime on it anymore. Because of me. At first, she just stared at me. Like she couldn't believe it. Then she got quiet. Real quiet. And she said, "You did that for them?" I nodded. For them. For you. For peace. And she cried. Not big dramatic sobs, just a few tears. Silent. Then she hugged me and whispered, "They don't deserve you." After that night, things were different between us. Stronger, closer. Like we finally stopped pretending. Like we finally stopped trying to win approval from people who never planned to give it. But here's the part I didn't see coming. 2 weeks later, her dad had a fall, slipped on some wet concrete outside. Busted his knee pretty bad. Couldn't drive. Her mom called, panicked, asked if we could come help out. And of course we did, because that's who we are. We showed up the next morning. Brought groceries. Set up their meds. I even fixed the damn railing he never bothered to touch. Spent hours there, sweating, drilling, making sure everything was safe. And you know what he said when I finished? Took you long enough. No thank you. No nod. Nothing. Just that. I wanted to walk out right then, but I didn't. I cleaned up. Packed my tools. And as I was heading to the door, something happened. The mail came. Her mom grabbed the pile, shuffled through it, and stopped. Just froze. She pulled out this one envelope. Official looking. From the city tax office. I didn't think much of it. Until she opened it, her face changed. She looked confused. Then, pale. She looked over at her husband. Then back at me. And she said, "Why is your name on our property tax notice?" Silence. Dead silence. Her dad sat up straighter. "What?" She read it again. Out loud this time. "Owner of record. Benjamin R. Miller." She looked at me. "Ben, what does this mean?" I didn't know what to say. I hadn't planned for this. I never wanted credit. Never wanted a moment like this. But it was here, right in front of us. I looked at her, then him. And I just said, "It means you're living in a house you no longer owe anything on. It's yours. No strings, no rent, no debt. You're welcome." Her mom just blinked. Her dad? He scoffed. "You expect me to believe that?" I didn't answer. I just walked out. Because in that moment, the truth didn't need defending anymore. After that day when they saw my name on the tax papers, things got quiet. Her parents didn't reach out. No calls, no messages. And honestly, I didn't expect them to. I figured they were embarrassed, maybe confused, maybe just too proud to admit what it all meant. And you know what? That was fine. I wasn't waiting for some big thank you. I didn't need them to suddenly fall to their knees or bake me a cake or post about it on Facebook. But part of me wondered if they were sitting in that living room, sipping their tea, finally thinking, maybe we got him all wrong. A few days later, my wife got a text from her mom, just a short one. "Hope Ben is doing well. Thank you." That was it. No punctuation, no warmth. But I guess it was something. My wife showed it to me and kind of smirked, like she didn't know whether to laugh or be annoyed. I just said, "Yeah, that's the most we're gonna get." And we left it there. For a few weeks, we didn't talk about it. Life kept going. I went to work, she had her projects. We spent our evenings like usual dinner, music, maybe a movie, just normal life. Peaceful. But then her uncle came to town, the one from Texas. Big guy, loud laugh, always telling stories that go nowhere. He was her mom's brother. And whenever he visited, it meant one thing: a family barbecue, whole crew, cousins, aunts, neighbors, people you haven't seen in years suddenly showing up with a folding chair and potato salad. I didn't want to go. Not because I was mad, just I wasn't in the mood for fake smiles and side eyes. I figured the whole extended family had heard something by now. People talk, especially in families like hers. One cousin says something, another adds a twist. Next thing you know, someone thinks I stole the house. But my wife looked at me that morning and said, "You don't have to go, but I'd love if you did." And that's all it took. I put on a clean shirt, we showed up around 2, the smell of overcooked hot dogs already hanging in the air, music playing from one of those little Bluetooth speakers, half the kids barefoot in the grass, someone yelling about corn on the cob. Same scene as every year. But this time, it felt different. People looked at me. Not rude, not mean, just curious. Like they were trying to figure out where to place me now. I walked up with my wife, carrying a dish of baked beans like I always do, and I could feel it. The shift. Her mom saw us first. She came over, gave my wife a hug, looked at me and said, "Hi, Ben." Just that, nothing more. But there was a hesitation in her voice. Like she didn't know what tone to use. Her dad? He was at the grill. When he saw me, he gave a single nod. Didn't say a word, just flipped a burger and looked away. Honestly, I expected worse. We found a spot near the back, under the shade, and just existed. Talked to a few cousins. Ate. Drank lemonade. Smiled when people made small talk. And then her uncle came over. Big guy, red cheeks, always a little too loud. He clapped me on the back and said, "So, I heard you're the one keeping this family afloat, huh?" I blinked. My wife choked on her drink. I looked around, then looked at him. "What do you mean?" I asked, keeping it cool. He grinned. "Heard you did something real generous. That house, I mean, they were drowning in it, weren't they?" I didn't answer. Just kind of nodded, real slow. My wife said, "It wasn't meant to be public." He raised his hands. Hey, not from me. Word just travels." Then he winked. "Anyway, good on you. I've always liked you." I almost laughed. He barely knew me. But still, it was weirdly validating. That moment, not because he praised me, but because I realized something. The story was out. Not fully, not perfectly, but enough. And people weren't laughing. They weren't mocking me like I feared. If anything, they were confused. Curious. Maybe even impressed. And it hit me. All those years I spent trying to prove myself to her parents, trying to be enough in their eyes, none of it mattered now. Because I didn't need their approval anymore. I had my peace. And I had her. That night, after we got home, my wife curled up next to me on the couch. She was quiet for a while. Then she said, "You know what the best part is?" I looked at her. "What?" She smiled. "You never even tried to make them pay. You just helped them anyway." I shrugged. Didn't feel like punishing them. Just wanted them to stop being scared, even if they never say thank you. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "That's why you're not a failure. You're the opposite. And I guess that's all I ever really needed. Not revenge, not glory, just someone who sees me, really sees me. The rest? That's background noise. Let 'em talk. Let 'em whisper. I sleep just fine. In the house I bought, with my own hands, while they called me worthless."